What's up, duelists? That's right, baby, quick draw dragons. I talked about this bad boy in the ultimate guide, and I've got 3 exciting replays to show you guys today. But first things first, I did some pretty major announcements regarding the IRL RBET schedule in a stream yesterday. Go check out that stream VOD, go catch up on all the information you need to know to play in Edison tournaments this year, both online and in person. Huge announcements regarding the RBET IRL series, which is going to be massive tournaments in real life, potentially in a place nearby you. Definitely go check that stream VOD out. Make sure you're up to date with that kind of stuff. Okay, this deck is one of the decks I talked about in my Ultimate Dragons guide. This is a deck that was sort of toyed with back in the day. MMF did some optimization with it later on in like the early 2020 Edison era. But this is a list that I have sort of pieced together given what we know about the format, based off of what we know about the format, and based off of how we know this deck wants to play. Now, there are a couple other cards that I think might go well in this deck, but you're a little bit tight on space. You've got to play the full Quick Draw Plants engine, and then you've got to play the full Dragons engine to get the most out of both of these engines. Unfortunately, you don't really have room for cards like Foolish Burial, which I think would be really excellent in a deck like this, unless you start cutting Upstart Goblins, which is, it's fine. It's honestly fine to cut Upstart Goblins, but it will make your deck less consistent. And this is one of those decks that actually does not have trouble killing your opponent when they're at 11,000 life points. So I think giving them the extra 3,000 to have that extra shot at opening Future Fusion, or extra consistency at opening your draw engines, or whatever it really is, Quick Draw Dandy, etc., it's worth playing in a deck like this. We've got the 4 best trap cards in the format: Solemn Judgment, Dust Shoot, Torrential Mirror Force for the sweepers. In the sideboard, we got 2 Royal Decree, so against decks that are looking to overload us with trap cards, we can bring a Royal Decree. We've got 2 Bottomless Trap Hole. These are for matchups like Gladiator Beasts, where Royal Decree isn't necessarily good, but we do need to side out a heavy number of cards against decks like Gladiator Beasts. It's also pretty good at dealing with stuff like Vanity's Fiend, Thunder King Ryo, annoying cards for this type of deck. 2 DD Crows, this is a catch-all in Edison format. It's pretty good in just about most of the matchups. So I'd say about 50% of the matchups you're going to be siding this bad boy in. Same thing with Cyber Dragon and the Chimera Tech. The reason the Chimera Tech's made its way into the sideboard here is we actually don't have a lot of room in the extra deck. We need to have these 5 Quick Draw Synchros, because there are games where you're going to make double drill. And then, of course, you need to have all 5 of the Debris Dragon Synchros, Iron Chain, Red Dragon, etc. So those are mandatory, and that's 10 slots. And then on top of that, we've got Mind Control and Brain Control, and we've got the White Stone of Legend. So we do need to include at least a 4-star, a 5-star, and a 6-star, so we're able to synchro away with our opponent's cards using White Stone of Legend. We could maybe cut one of these 6 stars and make room for the Chimera Tech here and then get an extra sideboard slot, but I figured we're not going to be siding too heavily with a deck like this anyway. The engines are too tight. They're too important. You can't just be siding out like a Debris Dragon, because then all of a sudden your Cards of Consonance gets worse, that sort of thing. Your Red Meds get worse, your Future Fusion gets worse, etc. So there are very few cards you can side out in most matchups, and since we're not going to be siding in and out a ton with a deck like this, I think it's fine to use our sideboard slot to give ourselves that extra little bit of wiggle room in the extra deck slot, because I think that's just going to come up more. Lightning Vortex for Vanity's Fiend, Drago for the meta. Book of Moon is just an extra piece of defensive play against maybe Blackwings or Glads. Soul Release for whatever you need Soul Release for, and that's about it. Let's go ahead and hop right into the matches. Again, if you guys like this content, if you guys like Edison format content, go ahead and subscribe. This channel is going to the moon as the people who invest in crypto get owned. Crypto heads. Just kidding. I feel bad for anyone who lost a significant amount of money on that shit. All right, first game is against Sonya. These are replays, so I'm just going to show you the replays. I didn't have a lot of time to sit down and record a bunch of matches in a row, so I have to do replays for today. What have we got? I ended up going first. I opened up with Lone Fire, Kawaki Mara Drago, Dandelion, Space Typhoon, Blue Eyes White Dragon, and the card I draw for turn is Trap Dust Shoot. So this is a very good opening hand, especially going first. We've got Trap Dust Shoot so we can see our opponent's opening hand. We've also got Space Typhoon to help deal with problematic back row, like Royal Oppression, or those types of things. Then, of course, we've got the Dandelion Lone Fire combo, which can get us some pretty big card advantage next turn if our monster does stick around. And then we've also got Drago with a dragon to reveal. And if Drago's good in this matchup, it could lone carry as long as we're able to keep the back row clear with the Typhoon and know the information thanks to the Dust Shoot. So we have a really good hand here. I'm going to go ahead and set Dandelion, set both of my spell and trap cards. The reason being, I want to be able to have Typhoon set in case they set a lone back row. That way I can go for the Lone Fire play, sacking my Dandelion this turn. And then I do want to be able to Dust Shoot the opponent in the draw phase. So we go to Dust Shoot here. I'm going to show both hands for the rest of this game, I think. They've got Stratos, Skill Drain, Royal Oppression. So 2 floodgates that are actually going to interact pretty favorably for them. And then they've got also 2 pieces of removal, which are pretty good against what we've got going on as well. Bottomless and Mirror Force not only both answer Titanial, but they also both answer Drago pretty effectively. So pretty good pieces of removal to have here. Stuff like D-Prison would not be as effective. So we go ahead and Dust Shoot. We are going to take the Stratos. Now the reason being is I'm seeing this game going where I'm going to summon Lone Fire Blossom. I'm going to sacrifice my Dandelion, right? They're going to chain Royal Oppression. And then I'm going to chain Typhoon on the Royal Oppression. Now, if they don't set their skill drain alongside it, we'll be able to get another Lone Fire in defense. So, worst case scenario, we'll be able to wall up against the Immortal Bushi, right? If they do set skill drain alongside it, then we kind of get owned, but they have to attack over Lone Fire Blossom. They leave us with 2 tokens, and then we can attack with Blue Eyes White Dragon the following turn. We can tribute summon Blue Eyes White Dragon. At least use this guy to sort of bait out some of these back rows. It's important to note that skill drain will not negate Kawaki Meru Drago's reveal for cost. So in the end phase, even if skill drain is face up, I will still have to reveal a dragon for Kawaki Meru Drago. But we're sort of piecing together this game plan here. Keep in mind too, Lone Fire Blossom, if it tributes itself, it will work under skill drain. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So we go ahead and take the Stratos, leave them with the Bushi. I don't think they're going to risk the Bushi into something like a D-Prison, so I think they're just going to set it. They do end up setting it. They set the Skill Drain and the Royal Oppression. So they set their 2 Floodgates. This is very interesting to me. I thought that they would maybe set Bottomless and Royal Oppression. Those 2 make sense to set here. Bottomless in case I summon a strong monster that they can't deal with, because Skill Drain and Royal Oppression don't deal with strong normal summons, and their Bottomless could very easily be dead if I stick something like I don't even know, my own Stratos or whatever. It could be very dead to have, Bottomless Trap Hole in your hand. But it is also good to have Skill Drain down as early as possible to negate effects too. So it could potentially be the Skill Drain plus the Royal Oppression, but I was thinking it was for sure Bottomless plus Royal Oppression. So I go ahead and I flip the Dandelion. And I've drawn Quick Draw Synchron. So this is actually a pretty good card here because it allowed me to extend past the Lone Fire play once it gets stopped. So I go ahead and summon the Lone Fire. There's no reason to blind MST, by the way. We can wait till the Oppression gets flipped or till the Skill Drain gets flipped, and then we can chain Typhoon to it and resolve what it is we need to resolve. So we go ahead and sacrifice this, and then they pay 800. We also get them to pay the cost on the card, which is nice as well. This will destroy the Royal Oppression, and now I'll be able to grab 2 Lone Fires. Now what they should have done here is actually chain Skill Drain to the Space Typhoon, because that would have prevented me from getting this Lone Fire Blossom. So they actually made a pretty critical error here by not chaining Skill Drain to the Space Typhoon. They must have thought for some reason they couldn't do that, but that is going to be the case. And we do end up getting our defense position Lone Fire Blossom. Now, I did think that this other back row was what's that card? Bottomless Trap Hole. So I go now to sacrifice I think this Lone Fire. Yeah, I sacrificed the attack position Lone Fire to go get Titanial to try and force the Bottomless Trap Hole. But they surprised me by chaining Skill Drain here. I thought that if they had Skill Drain, they would have chained it to the last effect. And we would have been in an interesting spot there where we had to consider, maybe pitching our Blue Eyes or our Drago to special summon Quick Draw, to Synchro Summon, etc. So here I do go for Quick Draw and I do pitch the Drago. The reason being is if I pitch the Blue Eyes, then I won't have anything to reveal to Drago anyway. And then also there's a very real chance we can tribute summon or tribute set this Blue Eyes White Dragon. And these Immortal Bushi decks, they have a lot of issues getting over monsters that are in defense position with high defensive stats. So we go ahead and make Turbo Warrior. We attack over the Bushi. I know what it is. I maybe shouldn't have attacked there, but Anyway, the Bushi attacks over the token. We do have the defense position Lone Fire that can activate under Skill Drain. We've got some options, but they did pick up Smashing Ground. So this tells me a little bit more about their deck. They're playing Smashing Ground, which is like a spot removal spell. That's going to kill my Turbo Warrior, Sag. They set their Bottomless now, which makes sense. That's the card you want to get down now. We could brain control this Immortal Bushi, but I'm actually not sure about this ruling. I'm pretty sure I cannot tribute summon this for Blue Eyes White Dragon under Skill Drain. I'm pretty sure Skill Drain doesn't negate that part of the effect. So we just have to try to go for Titanial. If it was the Mirror Force, then I would have just not attacked, obviously. But turns out it was the Bottomless, and that's fine. I could have sat on the Lone Fire, but we risk not only drawing Titanial, but also our opponent just drawing a monster that can run it over, which is very awkward. Opponent picks up Dark Bribe. This is a card I'm not a very big fan of. Yes, it does protect your Floodgates, but in all honesty, it's like, if you think about it this way, right? You have your Floodgate in play, right? And you have Dark Bribe, and you set the Dark Bribe, and you protect your Floodgate. Most decks can play pretty effectively under Skill Drain to run over a 1200 monster. This Skill Drain is not protecting your Immortal Bushi. Same thing with the Royal Oppression. Most decks can run over a 1200 monster. It's not that hard. Dark Bribe is almost always better as like just another piece of removal in decks like this, unless you have specific synergies with it. It can be okay, but I generally don't like this card in general. I think it's pretty bad. If anything, like Starlight Road's probably better. Even though Starlight Road does kind of mess with this guy, which is awkward. We pick up Red Eyes, which sucks, but if we find any dragon, we're living, so we'll just vibe out. They elect not to summon the Elemental Hero Wildheart. This is just a misplay. They miss 1500 damage here. If they had summoned it, they could have hit us for 2700 and increased the clock. There's no reason not to. Even if I have Gores, they have Mirror Force, so it's not really that big of a deal. I could just drop Gores here too, and it would be the same thing, right? I do pick up a dragon in the form of Red Eyes Wyvern, and I think for a pretty hard time about setting it. I know normally decks like this do play Elemental Hero Wildheart, and I do also know that they play other Bushis and Armageddon Knight, so they have very few monsters that can actually attack over Red Eyes Wyvern. It really is only Stratos or Alias if they play that. And I know these lists don't always play Alias. It's sometimes something that they include, but it's not always. I know that they generally almost always include Wildheart. So I went ahead and set the Wyvern. This is to play around them having a second Bottomless Trap Hole or something like a Smashing Ground, and that would risk us taking a little bit too much damage. It would make me a little bit too uncomfortable. They're showing a little bit of the tech in their hand here. I don't see this, obviously, at the time. I should probably just go back to showing my own hand, but that does conflict with Skill Drain, which is a little bit awkward. So they attack into the Wyvern, they're not able to get over it, and they just have to pass the turn. After switching the Bushi to defense, of course. On our turn, we pick up Cards of Consonance. It's not really going to do too much now, but I am going to be able to brain control the Elemental Hero Wildheart, sacrifice both for Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, and then I activate the effect with priority. And this is in case they have Torrential Tribute or they have Bottomless Trap Hole. I activate the effect of Red Eyes Darkness Metal, even though it will be negated by Skill Drain, because of the nature of Bottomless Trap Hole or Torrential Tribute being used here. The effect would then resolve because Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon would be Chainlink 1, the trap card would be Chainlink 2, Red Eyes would be removed before the effect resolves, and so Red Eyes effect would resolve, and we'd be able to either bring back Drago or something like that, or we would even be able to bring out the Blue Eyes from our hand. So that's why you activate the effect with priority here. Yes, it does play into another Royal Oppression, but I figured there's Torrential and Bottomless, so there's two of those, and then there's only one other Royal Oppression. So it's a, 100% higher chance that it's a Torrential or a Bottomless set than it is a Royal Oppression here. Okay, so pass the turn. They draw a card, they pass the turn. I draw a quick draw, I just pass the turn. We're kind of stalemating. Again, this is kind of like having a big defense monster. Their deck usually struggles with that. That's probably why they're playing these Smashing Grounds, to be honest. I pick up a target for Cards of Consonance finally, so I'm able to filter a little bit more. I picked up Future Fusion, which is really nice. So at this moment, because they thought on my Cards of Consonance, I pretty much knew that they had either Solemn or Dark Bribe. And I want to force that, so that if I do ever find Heavy Storm, I can just slam it. So I'm going to activate this Future Fusion now. We don't have a lot more targets left in this deck. We just have some White Stones that would search as Blue Eyes, and then we have some, we have one Wyvern, one more Red Med in the deck. So we have some things to send. We have enough to send with this Future Fusion, but it's not the best Future Fusion, even if it does resolve. So I'm actually really happy with it getting bribed here. We're able to pick up Mirror Force 2, which is really nice. I go ahead and set that, because one of the ways I see losing is if my opponent just Smashing Grounds, Solidarities, and just summons another monster and then attacks us for game. So I just want to have the Mirror Force down. I know their last back row is Mirror Force. I know it's not Road anymore, and their bribe is now gone. They set a new back row. We pick up Debris Dragon. I go ahead and pass. They pick up Magic Planter. So this is interesting. They're playing Magic Planter in this deck. This is kind of a cool card. It lets them get rid of one of their Floodgates and draw 2 new cards. The issue is it's getting rid of the Floodgate that was stopping me from playing the game. So it's kind of doing the work for me. Draws some cards. Here comes the Stratos Normal Summon, which I am totally okay with. They search Diamond Dude, and then they just pass. On my turn, I pick up Cards of Consonance, but now I have hella plays. I can just activate the Red Man, which I end up doing. I just bring back the Drago. I switch my red med to defense because of the Mirror Force that I do know about from the Trap Dust Shoot, and I attack over the Stratos, getting myself a +2. So not only do I get a free monster here, but I get a run over a monster. So solid +2. Solid +2. Hold up, I gotta clear my throat. Damn, these replay vids have you talking like nonstop, no cap. Okay, we got the reveal. What did I reveal? Blue Eyes or some shit? I don't even remember. Anyway, they pick up a main deck Lightning Vortex. So not only are they playing Smashing Ground, but they're also playing Lightning Vortex. And this is interesting because I saw them search a Diamond Dude. So it starts to make a little bit more sense why they'd have this many normal spell removal spells. But this does kind of suck for us too, because now we're losing all of our pressure. And that's tough. Even though they don't have skill drain anymore, which is good for us. We can Debris Dragon, maybe try to nuke the field, figure something out. Here comes Diamond Dude Normal Summon. They're going to activate the effect. They hit a Mirror Wall, which is a very interesting tech card. I think Mirror Wall is an underrated card in Edison format in general, but I think it's better applied in other decks. I don't think it's very good in a deck like this where you're already paying life points for skill drain and Royal Oppression, and then on top of that you already have like a glut of continuous traps that just sit there. It makes kind of sense with the Magical Planter, but you have to pay at least 2,000 life points to fucking keep it around enough to activate that Magical Planter, so it's a little bit awkward. I'm not super sure if it's at its best here. It does help you protect Diamond Dude, I guess. Maybe it's okay. I don't know. Okay. They do activate that Solidarity, and now this Mirror Force is going to be clutch, because I did not want to like just randomly die here, or take 40 million damage or whatever. Kill both monsters. Not the best Mirror Force in my life, but gets the Diamond Dude out of here, and it keeps the pressure off of us, which is fine. And then I finally do pick up Heavy Storm, which is very nice. We do have Lethal here. If you look closely, we can summon Debris Dragon, bring back either Dandelion or Lone Fire, banish the Debris Dragon for red med, and then bring out Blue Eyes, and that is just over 6,000 damage. So by the time we find Heavy Storm, we're able to clear the back rows. Their bribe was forced on the Future Fusion, and now we can go for game. And decks like this, they never play Gores, because not only is it not a warrior to conflict with Immortal Bushi, but if you look at Royal Oppression, Skill Drain, Solidarity, etc., 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 all that stuff's going to clog for Gores, so they never play it. They sometimes play Battle Fader, but it's usually a sideboard card, so yeah. Easy one. In game 2, let's go ahead and look at the sideboard that I have in this deck. God damn it. I'm going to get kicked off Dueling Book. Never mind. Where are we? Where were we? Okay, in the sideboard, we've got double Royal Decree. I brought these in. And then I also brought in 1 DD Crow for no reason. And that's it. I think I might have brought in the Dragos, too. I think I might have brought in the Dragos, 1 DD Crow, and 2 Royal Decrees, and I sided out... I think I sided out all of the trap cards. And I think I sided out... I can't remember what the last card was that I sided out for the Crow. But I remember, I think it was 1 Upstart. I remember siding the Upstart back in for game 3, I think. Something like that. But yeah, the Royal Decrees, or if it goes to game 3, I would have... I don't know if this goes to game 3 or not. Now, I'm not remembering this shit at all. I'm not remembering this. I might be thinking of a different match. Okay, in any case, they summon Stratos. They search Diamond Dude. They set 1 back row. And I'm looking at my hand. I'm like, this hand's fucking crazy. This hand's just awesome. We have our limited spells, which the deck plays a lot of. As you can see, at least 5. Yep, just the 5. But you have a lot of draw power to find the 5. So we've got 2 of our limited spells, 2 of our 5. We've got a live draw engine, which is going to put a big dragon in the grave for our red med. And then we've got Royal Decree, which is awesome. So I go ahead and fire off this trade-in, draw 2 cards. I pick up Lone Fire. I'm like, oh, that's fucking awesome. Because the second Lone Fire resolves, we're going to get Titanium in play too. So this turn, I'm just going to play a little bit slow. I'm just going to set Royal Decree. These Bushi decks, they're not really known for their speed. They're more so known for their ability to set a bunch of trap cards and grind you out. So we're probably not going to get hit for too much here. They would need Armageddon to turn on a Solidarity, and even that's not going to be even lethal, or even close to lethal. So they summon Armageddon, they send Immortal Bushi, they go ahead and attack with both. I just let it happen, honestly. And then we go to the end phase, and yeah, we activate Upstart Goblin on our turn. The reason we don't Decree in their end phase, and this is the reason we don't. If they have Typhoon in their hand, they can use it. Obviously, they don't have Typhoon in their hand, but they could use it to clear the Decree there, which would be annoying. And then on top of that, if they have something like Skill Drain or Royal Oppression that costs life points to activate, then we can get them to pay that life points and cost, then chain the Royal Decree and get extra value out of our Royal Decree that way. On top of that, if we just summon Lone Fire Blossom, go into Titanial, for example, they activate Bottomless, we can chain Royal Decree, and now the Royal Decree's actually killed their Bottomless Trap Hole. So if they later clear the Royal Decree, we've gotten the Bottomless Trap Hole out of the way for our further plays. We've gotten that +1, basically. So we go Lone Fire here. They chain Royal Oppression. This is exactly why you wait. And then you chain the Royal Decree. Get that extra 800 burn. This is going to go grab us Titanial. I'm going to go through both Lone Fires just because after the first Lone Fire, or after Titanial's out of the deck, the second Lone Fire is pretty bad. Even though we don't play stuff like Pot of Avarice, the second Lone Fire is not really getting us anything here. So I'm going to go through both of them. I'm going to attack over the Stratos. And I'm just going to straight up pass. I don't do anything else. There's not really much else to do. They could Smashing Ground or Lightning Vortex me. They have a pretty fat hand. They have a lot of options. I'm just kind of banking on the chance that they have a bunch of weak monsters like these guys and a bunch of trap cards that get shut up by Royal Decree that they were pretty scared to set into something like Heavy Storm. So here they just set another monster, which you can see here is Plague Spreader. Another interesting inclusion. You can send it off Armageddon. You can do some cool stuff with it. And then they just pass. On our turn, we pick up Quick Draw, which is amazing. It's actually really, really good. So I go ahead and go for the Quick Draw because not only is this going to give us a token to activate our Titanial with, it's going to give us a Drill Warrior that we can start looping as well. So we summon the Drill Warrior, and then I believe we just attack both set monsters. Yep. Well, we attack the face-up monster first in case the set monster is something crazy. That would, like a Fossil Dyna, that would totally clear our board, that kind of thing. So we go ahead and attack the face-up monster first. Then we attack the set monster. Drill Warrior activates. We pitch the second copy of Royal Decree because my reasoning here is if they ever out this one Royal Decree, we'll have Heavy Storm for the game push. And Brain Control and Red Met are just better cards. Plus, the second Royal Decree will be redundant with the Heavy Storm anyway. So we're vibing. That's why we pitch Royal Decree here. Plus, next turn, if we draw a Dragon, we won't have to add back Red Med if we want to go for a Red Med play. We can also add back Dandelion or Quick Draw and do something else on top of that. They do find the Smashing Ground for the Titanial. Now they summon Diamond Dude here, and here I think they make a bit of an error. They stack for Plague, but they don't summon the Plague in attack. They actually summon it in defense. You usually want to summon the Plague in attack here because my token is 0/0. So you're missing damage. Plague will attack over the token, and Diamond Dude will attack me directly for 1400. They do get to stack a spell card, mill it with Diamond Dude, which creates an awkward situation for us. At this moment in the game, they take a very long time to think about their play. And so you'll notice me get a little bit like, you got to make a play in the chat here in a second. So they bring back the Plague. I'll play in like real time or whatever. So they're thinking for a really long time here. So what they should have done was bring the Plague in attack over the token, attack directly with Diamond Dude. But now what they should do is they should actually make Bryonic, use Bryonic to bounce the Royal Decree, and then be able to Royal Oppression the Drill Warrior coming back, which puts me in a pretty bad spot, all things considered. Yes, I do have Brain Control to answer the Bryonic. Yes, I still do have that Royal Decree, but it does put me in a pretty bad spot here. And this is in real time. This is how long they were thinking about this play. There's not much to think about here. You just attack over the token. They try to take it back, and then I said question mark, and then I said play. So I'm fast forwarding here from this point, but my opponent was taking a very long time to think about this, and you can see why I'm getting impatient in the chat. You get the idea. So they bounce the Royal Decree, they attack over the token. They miss 1400 damage. Not the end of the world for them. I don't think it's really going to alter the course of this game too much. They pay 800 on the Drill Warrior. He says, I can't Oppression, right? And then I do tell him that you can, in fact, Oppression and banish Drill Warrior trying to come back. So he does Oppression it. We do lose our Drill Warrior, which is pretty sad. And then we also get Dust Shooted, which is pretty sad. But we picked up one of the best cards in our deck, which is Future Fusion. So all things considered, could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. They were able to Dust Shoot our Red Med. They're able to shuffle it away. But we do have Brain Control to grab that Bryonic, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. We'll attack directly for 2300 damage. Now, keep in mind, last turn, they activated Diamond Dude, and they did mill Lightning Vortex. So if I activate Future Fusion this turn, if I go Heavy Storm, activate Future Fusion, bring back Red Eyes in the end phase, they'll just like clear them with the Lightning Vortex. So there's no real reason to do this turn. There's no real reason to Future Fusion this turn. And as a result of that, there's no real reason to keep my Heavy Storm over my Royal Decree. Because Royal Decree not only is going to answer the trap cards that are in play, but it's also going to answer every other trap card that the opponent draws from this point on. So I elect to actually discard the Heavy Storm here with the Bryonic to bounce it to the extra deck, set the Royal Decree, and pass for the next turn. That's because positionally, this is the best play. A lot of people would have messed up here. A lot of people would have Heavy Stormed the Royal Oppression, activated Future Fusion, gotten Vortexed, whatever. Opponent sets more trap cards that you can no longer deal with because you were forced to spend your Heavy Storm. it's a pretty tricky situation here. This is actually a bit of something to think about. But yeah, so you go for that. They bring back the Bushi. They summon a new Diamond Dude, and this is where that 1400 damage actually is really coming back to bite them. They're gonna mill. They do end up hitting Magic Planter, which is huge. They're able to hit us for 2600, and as you can see, because of that 1400 damage, we survive at exactly 1400. They did misplay, and it did cost them the game. We are going to draw for turn. We picked up DD Crow. We can just activate Future Fusion. If they try to chain Royal Oppression, we can always chain Decree. We don't even have to activate Decree yet. We can just leave it face down. We'll go ahead and send the 5 dragons. We're going to send double Wyvern, double Red Med, and a Whitestone. And the reason we want to leave the Decree face down here and not flip it is because we want to just chain it when they do end up activating the Royal Oppression. They should honestly probably just force us to activate it. And also, if the opponent has some like wacky like DDR shenanigans or Dark Arm Dragon shenanigans or something like that, because they do have 3 darks, the Royal Decree is no longer negating this Royal Oppression. We can use their Royal Oppression against them. We do have enough life points to pay for 1 negate. So that's why there's reasons to not just activate this Royal Decree, even though it does negate the Royal Oppression. That does stop this. They know about the Decree because they bounced it with Bryonic. That's why they're not paying the 800. And we don't have to activate the Decree because we know the second they pay the 800, we can activate it. Honestly, they should have just paid the 800 to force it, but you get the idea. And the end phase, we're going to bring back double Red Med. This is to play around Smashing Ground, which we do know they play. If they draw a second Lightning Vortex, they got us, right? And they're going to have 3 draws thanks to this Magical Planter that they did luckily mill off the Diamond Dude. But if they don't draw it, in these 4 draws, we're drawing out to these 2 Red Meds. We've got Decree. We've got double Red Med, which is going to get us back hella Dragons. Going to get us back at least a Blue Eyes, potentially even this second Blue Eyes in hand. And we're going to be able to just crush the opponent this turn thanks to Royal Decree. So they draw a card for turn. You see they do have Smashing Ground. They do have 1. So bring back double Red Med is clearly the right play here. Play around what you can play around. Don't play around what you can't play around. If we just go for 1, then Smashing Ground and Vortex kill us. If we go for both, then only Vortex kills us. And then they draw 2 new cards off of the Planter. They activate the Diamond Dude. This is going to mill over an Upstart Goblin. They have 3 trap cards in hand. They know about our set Royal Decree. They have a Smashing Ground for 1 of the Red Eyes, but they're going to get murdered on the next turn and the subsequent turns as well, thanks to this Royal Decree. And that's going to be the match. That was a really interesting match. There was a lot of stuff to go over. You saw the power of Royal Decree backed by insanely strong monsters like Drill Warrior and Red Med and Titanial. You saw a lot of different sequencing with choosing the right outs for different things, choosing the right plays, and then you saw small little errors like not attacking with the Plague Spreader there, costing the opponent the game. And they thought for a very, very, very long time on that turn, so that's on them. GG's to Sonia. Okay, next match is against Jay Ferdas, I think is how you pronounce the name. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jay. I do win the die roll again. Very lucky, very lucky. Now Jay's a pretty solid player. He's always on to some good shit. So this is gonna be a match. Our opening hand's actually pretty good. We've got Dandelion. We did draw Titanial, but this is not the worst deck to draw Titanial in. We do get to play the trade-ins to filter it out of our hand, and Tribute Summoning Titanial is actually not that bad. So we've got Dandelion. We can set that with Torrential, which is what we do, basically. This is just textbook stuff, textbook opening stuff. They set a monster. You can see the stats there. You're kind of getting an idea of what we're facing against, and then they just pass the turn. We pick up Trap Dust Shoot. Now, Trap Dust Shoot's busted, especially in this deck because you're going to see it in your opening hand much more consistently than usual thanks to all the draw power. We do have Trap Dust Shoot. We're going to set that, and we're just going to pass. And here I am going to Trap Dust Shoot the opponent. We are going to see their hand. And now you'll see the predicament that the opponent is in. They have Miracle Fusion, they have Waters, but they have no hero. They have Interdimensional Matter Transporter, but this card not only needs you to have a hero and a water, but it also needs you to resolve a Miracle Fusion for it to really amount to anything at all. So even though this card is cute, it's cute tech, it needs you to have everything going right for it to work. And if you have everything going right already, then usually Interdimensional Matter Transporter is not going to matter. No pun intended. All right, so we take the Deep Sea Diva here, obviously, because if we let them go Diva, whatever, then they can maybe make something annoying, especially if the set card's like, I don't know. I kind of just want to incentivize them to get aggressive with Akaias. They shouldn't. They should play this game a little bit slowly, but I do want to incentivize them to get a little aggressive with the Akaias. So I Dust Shoot, I take the Deep Sea Diva. Now, the correct play from Jay is actually just set the Matter Transporter and pass. That's the only play you should make here. And the reason you should make that is because I have a back row. I have a back row. You have a Snowman Eater. You're totally defended. The only reason you might want to get aggressive with the Caius is if you're scared of my own Caius, which is fair. Caius is the most played card in Edison format, and there's a good chance that I do have that in my deck. I don't, but there's a good chance that I do. So we trap Dust Shoot, take the Deep Sea Diva. They go ahead and get aggressive with the Caius, and this is going to be a really, really solid 2-for-2 with us, with upside because we do get the tokens. So it's not necessarily a +1 because tokens aren't technically real advantage, but they're pretty fucking good here. So we go ahead and get those tokens. I pick up Red Eyes Wyvern. Now I have a lot of options. I can make Stardust Dragon now before they have a back row to interact with it. Or I could tribute summon Titanial or tribute summon Blue Eyes White Dragon, get aggressive that way. But I think just making Stardust Dragon is the best play. So I go ahead and go for that. Make Stardust Dragon, get 2 more tokens, attack directly for 25, and then we set the Space Typhoon. So something we can do in order to play around something like Absolute Zero, attack me directly, is I can actually Typhoon the opponent's back row. Not attack me directly, sorry. Try to crash with my Stardust. You get the idea. I can Typhoon the opponent's back row and then negate my own Typhoon with Stardust Dragon. That's just something we could do. And then on the next turn, we'd be able to tribute summon either Titanial or Blue Eyes. We'd be able to attack over Absolute Zero, negate its effect with Stardust Dragon, and then command the position that way. That is something we could do if they do find a hero to normal summon here and then use their Miracle Fusion. Now, the worst possible scenario for us is if they find Evil Guy, because then they could special summon Evil Guy, they could Caius, target the Stardust Dragon, and then we'll be forced to Typhoon, negate with Stardust, but then on top of that, they'll have a live Miracle Fusion. They'll be able to run over 2 tokens, and then I'll be in a pretty bad spot. Like, I won't be able to tribute summon my guys, and then I won't be able to attack with the Stardust as well. So, yeah. Thankfully for us, they didn't draw Evil Guy. They drew Future Fusion, and so we are able to Typhoon that, and they do not get access to the hero. So their Interdimensional Matter Transporter is not really going to do anything this game. Their Miracle Fusion is completely dead. Their Caius isn't online. Snowman Eaters gets negated by Stardust Dragon, and we're able to pull ahead into the driver's seat. And we do pick up Trade-In, which is really nice as well. This is going to discard the Blue Eyes because, it's better in the grave for Red Eyes, etc. And we do pick up Red Eyes, which is going to be just a game shot. So we tribute the 2 tokens, summon Red Eyes, special summon back Blue Eyes, attack the Snowman with Stardust, negate it, and then Red Eyes plus Blue Eyes direct is game. Pretty cool game. Pretty cool game in general. All right, game two. I'm just going to go back to showing my hands. Game 2, what did I side here? Oh, game 2, I made a little bit of a sideboarding error. So I brought in the DD Crows. But I've been on the fence about DD Crow versus this particular type of build, because this build usually has Deep Sea Diva, which is 2 waters, and it usually has Stratos, and it tries to turbo out Stratos, which is 2 heroes. So DD Crow is rarely going to stop Miracle Fusion. It's usually only ever going to stop Malicious or Plague if they're playing it. And we didn't see Plague in the last game, so I don't really know if he's on Plague, pretty much. And bringing in DD Crow preemptively, while it can be okay, it's sometimes better to just not. And then I also left in Trap Dust Shoot. Well, you might be thinking, Keegan, Trap Dust Shoot's insane. You got to leave it in. I actually don't think it's that good in this matchup. And the reason I don't think it's that good in this matchup is because their threat is Miracle Fusion. Miracle Fusion's not a monster, and we can't take it with Trap Dust Shoot. So we could theoretically Trap Dust Shoot their hand, see the threat, and not be able to do anything about it, which is really awkward. What I should have sideboarded instead of the Crows and instead of leaving in the Dust Shoot is I should have brought in the Lightning Vortexes, and I should have brought in the Royal Decrees as well. So that's what I should have sided. Game 2, I make a bit of an error. I do bring in the Crows. This is what I was thinking about in the last match. And I do correct this error for the next match. My hand's not bad. It has plays. It's just they're a little awkward. And I'm going second, so it's kind of tough. They e-call for Alias, which means they've drawn Stratos. They normal summon Stratos, and then they do get a search for Malicious, which is kind of scary. It's kind of representing that they have Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which is a really good card against our deck. I go ahead and normal summon the Whitestone. So I have 2 plays here. The first play is pitch Whitestone for quick draw, normal summon DD Crow, and synchro into Drill Warrior. That gets absolutely ass blasted by Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. Now, normal summon Whitestone of Legend, banish for Red Eyes Darkness Metal, special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon, doesn't get ass blasted by Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. It's also pretty good into most single back row, like Bottomless Trap Hole, Deep Prison, that kind of thing. Obviously, into a sweeper, it's very bad, but worst case scenario, I still have Quick Draw plus DD Crow to make a Drill Warrior and maybe somehow pull back into this game somehow. But this play, I think, is a little bit better into the lone back row and has a little bit higher chance of actually resolving. So I normal summon Whitestone, I special summon Red Eyes, I priority activate, and I special summon Blue Eyes. And let's see what their back row was. It was a Space Typhoon, so it just wasn't anything anyway, but I think this is the better play to make here into the 2 back row. And we do get in a huge amount of damage, 4,000 damage, absolutely massive. representing lethal, basically saying you have to respond to this or you're going to get fucked next turn. He does have the Evil Guy Infernal Prodigy. Now he has a couple of options here. He can special summon out Gilman. He can Black Rose, just blow up the field. He can special summon out Bryonic. Maybe bounce the Blue Eyes, bounce the Red Eyes. Hope I don't have another dragon to normal summon. He can do a couple of different things. He can make Goyo Guardian crash with the Red Eyes if he has an out to Blue Eyes like Phoenix Wing. That would work. But he ends up going for this play where he grabs Diva, Synchros into Armory Arm, Synchros into Bryonic, and then has Miracle Fusion to be able to fuse away with one of these heroes and one of these waters. And as you can see, Stratos equates to 2 heroes and Diva equates to 2 waters. So my DD Crow in my hand is just laughably bad here. It just does nothing. So they're able to make absolute 0 pretty easily, crash with the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now I'm not sure if this is the best play for them, but it does work. It does work. They could have also summoned like Goyo here and then just taken 300 damage running into the Red Eyes and then had a stronger monster in play that doesn't immediately get destroyed by brain control. But Bryonic represents a little bit more pressure, I think. We take 2300. Pressure in that I can't just like set a Dandelion to wall out. We pick up Torrential Tribute, which isn't the worst. So their lone back row didn't interrupt the Red Eyes or the Blue Eyes last turn. And they had opportunities to really take advantage of that. So I think that it's either Space Typhoon or the Interdimensional Matter Transporter. I'm going to sort of force the issue by pitching Blue Eyes for quick draw and then synchroing into Drill Warrior and attacking the Bryonic. If this goes to shit, then I can at least set the Torrential Tribute and hope he plays into it. But thankfully this does just resolve. And actually, I do want to banish my Drill Warrior in case he has another Miracle Fusion or he has just another way to clear this, like Diva into Gilman into Catastor kills Drill Warrior. So I'm just going to pitch the Torrential Tribute and banish the Drill Warrior. He does end up having the Diva. So pitching the Torrential, it was a better play than setting it. Because if we set the Torrential, we would have been forced to use it and we would have lost our Drill Warrior. Yes, it would have outed their Catastor, but we can do that with the Drill advantage anyway. So Diva brings out Spine Gilman. They attack for 2300. Optimal attack here. You want to get in that extra 100 damage. And then Synchros off into Catastor to try and wall out our Drill Warrior. Now we do pick up Upstart Goblin, which I make a bit of an error here. I should have actually not activated Upstart Goblin. It was a little bit greedy to activate it because it gives them an extra 1,000 life points. And it changes our clock, which is bad. I should have just pitched the Upstart Goblin to Drill Warrior. I add back DD Crow, and the reason I add back DD Crow is because I have to set it. I basically just have to put defense up because our life total is too low. We can't risk them summoning that alias that we know about and then just starting to apply that pressure if we don't have a monster to commit to the board here. So I shouldn't have activated this Upstart Goblin. I should have gone for a pure race situation. I end up drawing into a Blue Eyes, which is completely blank here. And I gave the opponent an extra 1,000 life points, which was a pretty clear error. I pitch the Blue Eyes, I banish the Drill, I set the monster, and I pass. They are able to get in for 2,200. It's a bit of a tough situation for us here, the home team. We're able to add back Red Eyes, and thankfully we did draw into a dragon, so we have a backup play now in case things go wrong. I go ahead and summon Red Eyes Wyvern, and then they did finally end up finding the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. And this is part of the reason you want to bring in Royal Decree. Even though they have, like, not so many trap cards in this deck, it's usually somewhere between 8 and 12. I mean, that's a decent amount of trap cards. The trap cards that you do stop are really high impact, like Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, so they're going to put Red Eyes Wyvern back on top of the deck. I'm forced to attack over the alias. They take 500. Ally of Justice Catastor is going to be able to clear our Drill Warrior. I can't afford to banish it because my life total is too low. I go ahead and pick up that Wyvern. I'm able to banish it for Red Eyes. Red Eyes bring back the Blue Eyes. I attack over the Ally of Justice, and I have to attack the set monster here. It is a Snowman. It's going to pop the Red Eyes. I just have to attack it. I can't risk them having Caius and killing me on the spot. So I do pick up a White Stone, which is awkward. I attack for 3,000. They did top deck Deep Prison, and that's tough. Sometimes they're just going to top deck their trap cards. And again, I needed Decree in this matchup just to answer these 2 trap cards. Because if you have that 1 Decree to answer the trap cards, then you should be good. And then Lightning Vortex to deal with the other shit. And then your monsters just outclass everything. So Upstart Goblin going to give us a little bit more life, but we're still dead to like a Monarch or anything. They set another back row. We pick up Brain Control. Really awkward. It's also really awkward. We were forced to set the White Stone, which means if we find Cards of Consonance or any of that shit, it's like just dead. I pick up Trap Dust Shoot. I don't set it here. So the reason I don't want to set it here is if they have Dust Tornado or Phoenix Wing Wind Blast and I draw a real back row next turn, again, that middle back row has never been used. So there's a chance it's a Typhoon or a Dust Tornado. I want to be able to conceal a real back row by setting 2 cards at the same time and at least forcing a 50-50 on them getting it right. So I don't set the Dust Shoot here. They activate Upstart again, giving us an extra 1,000, but we're still kind of boned to a lot of stuff. We pick up DD Crow, and man, am I upset I sided these in. They did absolutely nothing this game. I go ahead and set the dust shoot, and the reason I set the dust shoot here is because if they draw their own dust shoot, I don't want it to be live on the next turn. I do pick up Cards of Consonance, really awkward with the Whitestone of Legend in play. They've had a million turns to draw out of this, and they eventually just do. Here's a Regeki Break on the back row, and here's the Vanity's Fiend. We do have the out to this, but they do have the out to our out, which is Mirror Force, and then they are able to top deck. We don't set the Typhoon because I don't want them to have an Evil Guy plus target for Caius. Set a monster, pick up Red Med. Now I'm just forced to set DD Crow because I die to a lot of shit. Die to Vanity's Fiend, and then they sack for Caius, and we're just dead. So that's the nature of it. I could have waited another turn, but it was never really going to be that good for us unless we drew like specifically a dragon, and we are risking dying to additional Vanity's Fiends there as well. So it's possible I didn't set, or setting a monster is bad, but I think it's a risk you need to take at some point. So I assessed the sideboarding. I changed the DD Crows and I think there was one other card that I sided in that was bad. But I changed all that shit for Lightning Vortexes and Royal Decrees. This game, I get to go first, and my hand is fucking crazy. And this is why you play this deck, right? Is for hands like this. We get to pitch Dandelion to Quick Draw Synchron, get 2 tokens, which is awesome. And then we get to make Drill. And then Drill can pitch the Whitestone, which is going to search us a Blue Eyes White Dragon. And that's going to turn on a trade-in, which draws us into Torrential Tribute. Now you're probably thinking, ooh, set that Torrential Tribute. But no, you actually don't want to set the Torrential Tribute here. There's a very, very real chance that Jay commits just a little bit too much to the board this turn. Next turn, we get a Drill Warrior, bring back something high impact, like a Whitestone, something that'll give us another +1. And then we'll be able to Debris Dragon, blow up the field with Black Rose Dragon. And we want to keep our Torrential because on the first turn of the game against Diva Hero, there's actually very, very little that you would actually want a Torrential Tribute. It's only if they go for a sort of rare Future Fusion Diva Stardust Dragon on the first turn of the game where you'd want to have this Torrential Tribute set. In general, you want to hold it until the turn where they can go for the Miracle Fusion or the turn they can go for the Caius, the Shadow Monarch, for the most impact. So we hold the Torrential Tribute. We have Debris Dragon to sort of punish him for overcommitting. We pass the turn. He goes E-Call for Stratos. Stratos is going to search. That's going to grab Malicious. But this deck, against an active Drill Warrior, they have a couple of outs, and if they don't find him, they just get fucked by Drill Warrior. That's just the nature of the game. And that's honestly every deck. Drill Warrior's fucking crazy. We pick up Mirror Force, which is very, very good here. Drill Warrior's going to come back. It's going to add the Whitestone. So this is exactly what I was talking about. He commits just a little bit too much here. He commits 3 cards to the board. And that's beautiful because we can trade this 1 Debris Dragon for the 3 cards and end up with 2 tokens at the end of all that. We activate Drill Warrior. We pitch the Whitestone. We get our +1. We go ahead and grab that Blue Eyes White Dragon. And we're pretty happy we didn't set our Torrential here because now we're not losing it into our own sweeper. We normal summon the Debris Dragon. We bring back Dandelion. And here he makes, I think, a bit of an error. He activates Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, and he pitches Destiny Hero Malicious. He targets the Debris Dragon, but that's really good for us, because now this Dandelion's in play for our Torrential, Mirror Force, etc. If anything, he should have targeted the Dandelion. Not only does it keep the Dandelion from hitting the grave, gives us another sort of weak draw in Dandelion, but drawing Debris Dragon next turn is actually really fucking good for us if they do kill the Dandelion. So I think this is a bit of an error. Definitely want to target the Dandelion here if you're going to target anything. It is a mix-up, right? Because this deck does play Red Eyes. So you have to be aware of the fact that I can banish the Debris Dragon for Red Eyes, and that's scary. But at the same time, I think just going off of what you know, you really should just hit the Dandelion. It's a little bit safer. I will get to that Red Eyes eventually thanks to the Dandelion tokens if I do have it. And I can just normal summon the Debris Dragon for even more value next turn if you hit it here. So I think it's always correct to hit the Dandelion. They go ahead and hit the Debris. I go ahead and set Torrential and just pass. We don't need to set Mirror Force. I think Torrential is enough to stop whatever malicious Diva play they want to go for. If they want to try to make Stardust, something like that. They go ahead and draw. They're going to sack for Vanity's Fiend. And here we're going to pick up that card advantage with the Torrential. We're going to get our 2 tokens. It's a 2 for 2. Very solid Torrential Tribute for us. Pretty happy about that. And now we get to bring back Drill Warrior and really turn the corner on this. We get to add back Quick Draw Synchron, threaten the second Drill Warrior, which is very deadly. Very, very deadly. And here I elect to just attack. And the reason I elect to just attack is because there's a real chance that their last back row is a Torrential Tribute. I read that it's a Torrential Tribute because if they had Torrential Tribute, then they haven't had a moment to actually use it effectively. Last turn we summoned Debris Dragon. They would have lost their whole board if they didn't Phoenix Wing the Debris Dragon, etc. This turn, Drill Warrior comes back. That doesn't give you an activation window for Torrential Tribute. The last turn they had set 2 back row with Phoenix Wing. What other back row would you set alongside Phoenix Wing Wind Blast? That kind of thing. So, yeah, I think it's a Torrential Tribute. So, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, I read the back row Torrential Tribute. So I just attack for 2,400. Then before doing anything else, I actually pitch, and I do elect to pitch the Wyvern. The reason I pitch the Wyvern is because on future turns, I can pitch a Red Med, or if a Red Med dies after I banish something for it and it's summoned, then that Wyvern being engraved can give me gasoline later on. Yes, Wyvern's a decent beater in hand, but it doesn't even really get over Snowman Eater, and it's just not that effective here. Debris Dragon gives me that dragon that I can normal summon for Red Med already, so I pitch there. And then to bait the back row, I actually go for the second drill first, and I pitch the Blue Eyes. And the reason I pitch the Blue Eyes instead of the Dandelion is because I actually don't want to lock up my board in case he has Book of Moon or something like that. I don't want to lock up my board, and it is bottomless trap hole, so it wasn't exactly correct on the Torrential Tribute read, but we baited the last back row, and now we can go for Stardust Mirror Force and just have a great position with 2 tokens, and Drill Warrior's coming back next turn. We're pretty much in the driver's seat of this game. While it looks like we're down 2 cards, we're drawing 3 cards next turn thanks to Drill Warrior coming back, draw for turn, and whatever Drill Warrior adds back. The opponent needs to find something to deal with that. They are able to make Malicious. They summon Deep Sea Diva. They special summon out Gilman. Now at this point, I was thinking I should maybe say thinking on the summon or something. Try to make them feel scared to go into Dark End Dragon, because Dark End Dragon would be annoying. It just pops the Stardust Dragon, and then they can choose not to attack, which is annoying. But I don't go for the bluff. I think bluffs in general oftentimes get you into more trouble than they don't. I think in this case it might have had a little bit of a payoff, but I'm not really sure. They go ahead and synchro into Stardust Dragon of their own, and this is a cute play. So they make Stardust Dragon first, they go for Lightning Vortex. Now if I try to negate the Lightning Vortex with my Stardust Dragon, they can negate my Stardust Dragon with their Stardust Dragon, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That being said, if I do negate this Lightning Vortex, it does leave me with more life points. That's what it is, because this is going to clear the tokens no matter what, but we're going to take 2,500 less. So I still elect to negate the Lightning Vortex, even though their Stardust can negate my Stardust. It's just going to happen. And that Lightning Vortex did discard a very real card in a Deep Sea Diva. We're going to take 1,700. We don't need to Mirror Force this. There's no reason to Mirror Force this Gilman here. We can run this over very easily. And then main phase 2, they blind Allure, and they do end up hitting. They hit Caius, and then they set 1 back row. That back row is not that threatening. It could be a Deep Prison. It could be that kind of stuff. But for me, it's not that threatening because they have no cards in hand. And this deck normally plays a lot of Phoenix Wing, that type of thing. Here's where ends up being the Torrential, but we'll see if that ends up mattering. They bring back the Stardust Dragon on our turn. We bring back Drill Warrior. And because we found Solemn Judgment, we can actually make a really, really passive play this turn. We can just activate Drill Warrior's effect to banish, discard the Dandelion, banish the Drill Warrior, get 2 tokens, set the Solemn Judgment, and pass the turn. Next turn, Drill Warrior's going to come back. Drill Warrior can add back one of my big threats, one of my big boys, And then we can go for a big push, run over both their monsters with Solemn Judgment backup, basically. That's my game plan. Get this Solemn Judgment down, and then from there, I can Solemn the back row, whatever it is, and force through my play. They attack over both tokens, they set a monster, and they pass. So here's where some interesting stuff happens. We bring back the Drill Warrior, we add back Dandelion. I need to do this because the only monster in my extra deck at this point that I can make with my configuration that gets over Stardust Dragon is Red Dragon Archfiend. So I have to get back the Dandelion to pitch it to Drill Warrior, which is what I do. Make 2 tokens. I normal summon the Debris Dragon, I bring back Dandelion, I synchro here into Red Dragon Archfiend. And at this point, Jay has an interesting play. He can Torrential and then negate the Torrential with his own Stardust Dragon. Now, I don't know if he's going to notice this play, right? And I can Solemn this Torrential. I do have the priority to respond because I have a Spell Speed 3 card, right? I do have the priority to respond. But if he doesn't know that play, that means he's just trying to Torrential to keep this Red Dragon Archfiend off the field, which, honestly, I'm okay with. I'm okay with trading Red Dragon and 3 tokens for all of his cards, more or less. That leaves me with a Solemn Judgment and a Mirror Force and a Drill Warrior coming back and so much advantage. So I'm thinking either he knows about the play where he can negate his own Torrential with Stardust and he gets me here, especially if the set is Snowman Eater, which it is, or he doesn't know about that play and he's just trying to clear the Red Dragon Archfiend. And I took the gamble that he didn't think through that play, and I did not Solemn the Torrential Tribute. And it ends up paying off because he lets the Torrential Tribute resolve, and it puts us in just a massive advantage. Next turn, we're drawing up to 6 cards, and he has 1, and we have an Omni Negate, and that's just that. Drill Warrior's going to bring back Debris. We're going to make Ancient Fairy to put on the quickest clock. Attack for 47, or not 47, 45. Pitch the White Stone to drill, and go search a Blue Eyes, and GG's. GG's to Jay. Very, very fun game. Very, very fun game. I think I misboarded game 2 a little bit. Game 3, there was a lot of cool interactions that came up, a lot of cool things that you don't normally see. So that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun that game. Okay, next match. Next match is against Channel 4 L4 and Derisi. I lose the die roll, which sucks. I hate losing the die roll. I just hate it. We open Dust Shoot again, though, which is pretty nice. And we do have Trade-In, which is live, and we have Cards of Consonance, which is also live. So this deck is just gas, dude. It's just gas. When you draw the draw engine, the deck just feels really, really, really solid. Opponent summons Laquari, sets 2 back row, and passes the turn. Now, I pick up Heavy Storm. You guys kind of see what's going on here. I go ahead and activate Trade-In first. This is to bait any sort of Solemn Judgment shenanigans, any sort of whatever shenanigans, Dark Bribe shenanigans that the Glad player might have. I've seen Gladiator Beast players play Dark Bribe. I've seen Gladiator Beast players play other things. We pick up a Wyvern, which at the very least will trade with the Laquari, and we pick up a second Debris Dragon, which is nice, because that means I will be able to pitch the first one without having to worry about losing it. We pitch the second Debris Dragon, and we pick up Dandelion plus Upstart Goblin, which is, just a little bit more turbo draw. Upstart's going to draw us another card, and that finds Red Med, and you guys get the idea, right? And we go for the Heavy Storm. We go ahead and normal summon Wyvern, banish it for Red Med, and we attack over Laquari. Now we could choke here. We could bring back the Debris Dragon and go for extra damage, but that would be a choke because then they could summon just about any Glad, attack over the Debris Dragon, and bring out Murmillo to pop our Red Eyes Darkness Metal, and that would put us in a really bad spot. We want to resolve this trap Dust Shoot, make sure there's none of that shenanigans before we start to bring back Debris Dragon, or we want to find some way to convert it, maybe another Red Eyes, maybe something to synchro with it, like a Lone Fire Blossom or something like that. So at this point, we just go for the Red Med, we run over the Laquari, easy +1, -1 on the Wyvern, +1 on the battle, so it puts us up a card solidly, and then we set the trap Dust Shoot and pass the turn. And now you guys get to see why you should never play Gladiator Beasts. And at this point, Channel 4 says, this is an Edison format? So, man's in denial. We hit him so hard with the dragons. We put the man in denial. We put him into he's been gaslit into thinking that Red Med is not here. It's like your therapist. Red Med isn't real. Red Med can't hurt you, and you're the Glad player, and you're just like staring down a Red Med in Edison format. Oh man, and this takes forever. And I hit him with the question mark. It's like the best deck in Edison format. I have to be a little bit of a dick, right? Because I make the videos and you just have to, right? Like, how do you not know? This card's been out for Red Med's been out for 15 years, 14 years. Like, I'm barely old enough to be this card's father. That's something you should think about. That's something you should think about. This card's been out for half of my life. This is an Edison format? Yeah, of course. Also, it's me. I'm the one playing you. What am I going to do? Play you with an illegal deck? I'm the one hosting Edison format. What the fuck? Oh, that's super funny. But the opponent takes their sweet fucking time here. I'm just letting it play. I'm just letting it play naturally so you guys see. Oh, ooh. And then I'm like, no, I have to stick this out. I could leave. I could leave the game. I could leave this game. But I'm destroying a Gladiator Beast player. And let me tell you, nothing makes me happier than destroying a Gladiator Beast player with dragons. Nothing brings me more joy in this world than crushing Gladiator noobs with dragons. It's like my favorite thing. It is literally my favorite thing. There's nothing that triggers the dopamine and serotonin more in my brain than this. Oh, sorry, I forgot to hit pause. I was monologuing there for a second. I hit him with the question marks. I say it's at 3 because he was searching the ban list. Like this card would ever be banned, Kappa. And here we hit him with the trap dust shoot. Look at this hand, bro. You got Ready Ari, you got Murmillo. Get the fuck out of here with this deck, dude. Get the fuck out of here. So we look at the hand, and I say Prisma. Because you know what? We don't want them to top deck a Test Tiger and fuck our shit up. They still could, because they can Test Tiger into Murmillo, but it's not as bad as them going for Geysers, obviously. So we go ahead and take the Prisma. Plus, if there's any weird shenanigans, we don't want them to be able to set up a bestiary play for sure. So we go ahead and dust shoot, take the Prisma, and our opponent's just sitting here questioning his life. This is real time, by the way. This is in real time. I hit him with the please return Prisma to deck and shuffle. Oh my god, you guys are lucky I did not record this live because I was just sitting here bruh. So he returns and he shuffles, and then I send dust shoot to the graveyard, and then it happens. And then it happens. And then we wait. And the Gladiator Beast Salt, just salt mines, just the Dead Sea up in this bitch. Literally fucking the capital of Utah. I hit him with the thumbs up. You just gotta wait for the Gladiator Beast Salt to sink in. This is fucking Salt Bay, dude. This is oh man, this is In-N-Out fries when they give you extra salt and you put it on the In-N-Out fries. Here it is right here in real time. You're seeing it. I have not hit pause, by the way. This is playing in real time. We know their hand. They know the situation they're in. Should we sit through this? Should I make you guys sit through this? Should I fast forward? You don't know. I'm edging you right now. This shit is hilarious. I gotta hit that hour. I hit him with the continue, please. Of course, you gotta let him know. Continue, please. No, but we press onward. I know, deep in my heart, I know this match will be worth it if I finish it out. I know that the opponent may be playing slow here to try and get me to leave, to get me to be impatient, but no. If I finish this out, it will be fire. It will be fire for the video. I can put some clickbait in the thumbnail. Gladiator Beast Noob destroyed by dragons. No offense, Channel 4, if you're actually new to the format. I don't mean to be a dick or anything, but nothing brings me more joy than this moment. This is what I've lived for my whole life. I've waited 13 years to be able to destroy a Gladiator Beast Noob with Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This is everything I've lived for. You can see I'm so patient. I've never been this patient in my life. I am one of the most impatient motherfuckers on planet Earth. And when it comes to this, when it comes to getting my sweet, sweet revenge against Gladiator Beasts, oh my goodness, I will wait. I will wait for years. Because I know it'll happen. I know it'll eventually happen. I know eventually the Gladiator Beast player, I hit him with a "you there?" question mark. You there? Question mark. You know he's gonna be there. You know he's gonna be there. You know it's gonna be worth my time. Oh man, it's just so sweet. I'm like, it's like a meal, right? Like finely cut beef. Like, what is that? Carpaccio or what is it when it's like finely cut? Let me see if I can pull some of that shit. What is it? Beef carpaccio. Is that what it is? Or is it? There's another. Yeah, it's carpaccio. There we go. That's what it is. It's the finely sliced. Dude, you see this? My opponent may as well be AFK. He may as well be AFK out of salt. But I am going to wait this motherfucker out. I'm going to wait him out because I know if I'm patient, I will get that W. I will get that win on my little replay board. Yeah, beef carpaccio, that's what it is. It's like I got a fucking whole ass cow and I'm eating it, beef carpaccio. That's what this weight is. It's like I'm like living right now. I'm truly peaking. It's like, oh man, I'm not trying to make any references that would get me DMCA'd or some shit. Not DMCA, what is it? Fucking demonetized, you know what I'm saying? But like this is what I live for right here. And then I go ahead and link him Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon to let him know Absolute Power Force Special Edition. And then I link him the errata, first print 2009. You already know I have to do it. Someone on the last video commented, he was like, I prefer the replay videos. There's less salt. It's more objective. No, you don't understand. The salt is the content. There's no content without the salt. Even in the replay videos, I need this. I need this salt. I need it so badly. Oh my god. Okay, please can you continue your turn? Now I'm getting like fucking impatient. Just like rewatching this. Oh man, he ends up setting Darius, by the way. It does continue. It does continue. But I'm letting you guys experience this beauty. The Gladiator Beast Salt. The beauty of Gladiator Beast Salt. On my next turn, I'm thinking something like I'm gonna bring back Debris Dragon. I'm gonna normal summon Dandelion. I'm gonna Synchro. I'm gonna Black Rose. Switch their monster to attack position because they're gonna set a monster and I'm gonna hit for 5,200. Murmillo's in their hand, so even if they have it glad to attack over one of the tokens, they can't tag into Murmillo to pop either of my threats. So I'm pretty much just home free to win this game. There's really nothing they can do about it unless they top deck like a pretty insane series. It would take like specifically Test Tiger, I think, to get them out of this situation. But yeah, no, I waited this out. I was the most patient I've ever been. This is the Tiger lying and waiting, and there you go. He finally goes to main phase. He finally gets over whatever the fuck was ailing him, whatever salt he was dealing with in the meantime. Nice. And we can finish this meal. Still waits a really long fucking time, thinking about which one of these motherfuckers he wants to set, which one of these useless pieces of shit he wants to throw into the garbage can that is the Gladiator Beast graveyard. And he sets Darius. Okay, now on my turn, I pick up a second Dandelion. Doesn't matter. I go for the play that I was talking about. And you can see the lightning quick plays. Look at this. Normal summon Dandelion. Synchro off into Black Rose Dragon. Summon the Black Rose Dragon from the extract. Grab the specific Dandelion tokens, the fluff tokens. You guys can see it. This is in real time. This is not even fast forward. I just play this quick. I'm just like this in tune with what I'm going to do. I banish Titanium. Leave Dandelion for my next Debris Dragon. Black Rose is going to flip this to attack. Opponent makes us wait. Yet again we wait. While they read Black Rose Dragon for the first time. You know what's crazy is like even if you play modern Yu-Gi-Oh, Black Rose Dragon has seen play in modern Yu-Gi-Oh. It was played in Drytron. It was played in Sword Soul. Like this card sees play. You should know what it does if you play modern Yu-Gi-Oh. We hit for 5,200. Go to main phase 2. Pass the turn. They pick up Starlight Road. Easy clap. And we go to the next game. Easy clap. Okay, we're gonna watch the next one on fast forward. I won't make you sit through another one of those. That was just beautiful. That Gladiator Beast Salt was beautiful, and it paid off. It paid off really. All right, let's not show his hand. Let's just show my hand. All right, opening hand solid. We got the draw engine. They pick up their 6th card. They set 4, and then they dust shoot us in the draw phase. That's all right. It's all right. Our draw engine's still live. We have an Upstart Goblin. Nothing really matters here. They could take the Wyvern. That'd be annoying. They end up taking the White Stone, which is it's marginal. Doesn't really matter that much because our Consonance is still live. So we go ahead and Upstart, pick up Future Fusion. I'm like, that's pretty fucking good. What are the chances he left in Space Typhoon? Not only did he leave in Space Typhoon, he sighted in Dust Tornado. Fucking Gladiator Beast players, man. Gladiator Beast players. I don't know what to tell you. They hit me with the Future Fusion. I was hoping to maybe bait a Dark Bribe or something like that because they set 4, so maybe they have a protection spell. So that's why I went for the Future Fusion first. Getting your Cards of Consonance Dark Bribed is much worse than getting your Future Fusion Dark Bribed, I think. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's better to have Future Fusion Bribed or Cards of Consonance Bribed. I'm not really sure. Either way, we were able to Consonance, and here I'm like, what are the chances his back row do nothing? I normal summon Red Eyes Wyvern, because one of them's got to be a protection spell, right? One of them is Solemn Judgment or Starlight Road, or Dark Bribe, right? And they didn't Dark Bribe any of my spells, so it's Solemn Judgment or Starlight Road. They set 4, so one of them is one of those. The other one could be a War Chariot. It could be a Bottomless, could be a D Prison. But if it's a Bottomless or a D Prison, or a Compulsory, or a Book, it's better that I go for this play, because I summon Wyvern, I banish it for Red Eyes, and then I priority activate, I bring out Blue Eyes. I was like, what the fuck do they do? They have to literally have Tiger Prism as their last 2 cards to even do anything with this. So we attack for 28, attack for 3,000. Easy clap. They go ahead and summon Secutor. So they've now drawn all 3 of their Garnets, as the Gladiator-based player should, honestly. They should draw their Garnets. That's deserved, and it's just the way it is. They activate Enemy Controller, which is a cool tech. It really is a cool tech. They're going to take the Blue Eyes White Dragon and attack over the Red Med so we don't get too much crazy advantage on them. But we still have a fucking legendary dragon. You know what I mean? We still have literally a virtually invincible dragon. Draw for turn. Attack. Their top deck was D Prison. Very annoying, but we have Red Eyes plus Blue Eyes for the follow-up in case they, in case we find a dragon, basically. They find Darius off the top. Very unlucky for us, because that means if they did have Chariot and I was blanking it, now we are no longer blanking it. They attack for 17. They tag into Rediari. I do not like this tag into Rediari. I think this is a bad tag. Why? Because neither of their cards fucking defend this shit. Otherwise, they would have stopped these cards. So you're summoning a weak-ass monster just to banish a Red Eyes from my grave, which does fuck all in my graveyard. It doesn't do anything in my graveyard. Like, it's not doing anything there. I don't have any Wyverns. I don't have anything. If I draw a Wyvern, you're going to lose to that because you summoned Rediari instead of Laquari. So I think this is a very bad play. You either get a quest to add back Secutor, or you get the other guy. Who's the other guy? Laquari to have a 2100 beater. And I think getting Laquari is just better every single day of the week. We do pick up a dragon. We go ahead and banish it, or we try to banish it, but he does reveal Compulsory. And I'm like, okay, so that's his last real back row. He has a protection spell, and that's the last back row. He picks a draw for turn. Normal summons it. It's a Gladiator Beast. I'm like, all right. Now I'm thinking, wait, maybe it's a Chariot. And I second-guessed myself. I shouldn't have second-guessed myself because that's dumb, but here we are. They go ahead and make Heraclinos, which doesn't make any fucking sense. Why are you making Heraclinos here? Just tag into your dudes that get you card advantage. Tag into your Laquari, tag into your quest, add back the Secutor to your hand. Start picking up card advantage. Why do you make Heraclinos? This can't tag. This can't do anything. This just dies to a Blue Eyes. This can't defend you. Like, this is not safe here. You have no cards in hand. You're not going to be able to negate my spell cards. I did board in the Lightning Vortexes, so if we draw into those, I mean, he's just getting fucked over here. We don't draw into those, but we do draw into some good shit, so I picked up Upstart Goblin, and I have Solemn Judgment, so I'm like, oh, Solemn Judgment's fucking crazy. I can literally just set Whitestone, set Solemn Judgment, and he can't fucking do anything. And then next turn I can just go Red Med Blue Eyes with Solemn backup, and he still can't fucking do anything. So I'm like, what are the chances he draws something and just keeps it in hand for Heraclinos? Pretty high, right? So I just set Whitestone, set Solemn, and then pass. Unfortunately, he does draw a Gladiator Beast. This is the saddest Solemn Judgment you'll ever see. I'm Solemning a Garnet, and this is why you don't play Glads. You just draw your fucking Garnets. But it's still fine. He elects not to attack for no good reason, just leaving my monster in play. Now I could even, if this wasn't Drago specifically, I could make a Catastor and, do some shit, pop his Heraclinos. Because he does know about the Whitestone because he compulsed it, so not attacking is just fucking insane. But here I do flip the Whitestone. I go for the Red Med. Worst case scenario, I can just set a Whitestone in case he does have the Chariot. He doesn't have it. Blue Eyes is going to crash with the Heraclinos. I'm going to attack directly for 28. And now I've pretty much confirmed that the last back row is Starlight Road, which, as you can see, it is. So we normal summon Drago. This is to play around random brain control killing me. Yeah, pretty much. They pick up a card, and then they leave the duel. After wasting fucking 30 minutes of my life. Thanks, bro. Not wasting. Sorry. You spent a lot of time in my life, but it was worth it. It was worth it because why? We got to watch a Gladiator Piece player draw Secutor, draw Murmillo, draw a bunch of these shitty cards, and get absolutely destroyed after resolving their best card, which is hilarious. Super, super funny. GG's. Hope you guys liked the video. Smash like, subscribe. See you in the next one. Peace.